Welcome everyone, this is Josh from pmstudent.com. I'm here in Washington, D.C. on a beautiful day. I'm here for the 2010 PMI Global Congress. It's been a good session so far, and I decided to get out and take a look at some of the monuments here in Washington, D.C. And today in this video I'd like to talk to you about the Washington Monument and some potential lessons for project management that we can draw from this monument. So the Washington Monument that we're looking at right now is 555 feet tall, going all the way up there, and it was started in 1848 originally, and the designer was Robert Mills. And this is essentially a monument to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. And some interesting things occurred with the construction of this monument. So I said that 1848 it was started, and it got up to about 156 feet. And you can probably see in the video here, let me zoom in, the difference. You can see a line between where it stopped in 1858, construction stopped in 1858, and then when it resumed later on in 1876, they had to use material from a different quarry essentially. So that's why you can see the line about 156 feet up. A couple things with that are that there were a few things that caused the construction to stop. One was, I've seen lack of funding cited as a reason why that project was stopped at that point, essentially killed. And that's something that we see on our projects nowadays. The Civil War in the United States was another reason for it. Hopefully we won't be running into any of those soon. There was also a party called the Know Nothing Party, I believe it was called. And this was a party who took over the Washington National Monument Society, who was the society put together to do the funding and the construction of this memorial. This Know Nothing Party took it over and essentially killed the project that way as well. So there were many factors working against it in 1858 that caused it to cease. A couple things that I wanted to draw out from this are, first of all, like I said earlier, we run into issues where we have lack of funding for our projects. We run out of money prematurely. Maybe the money wasn't really set aside the way that it was supposed to be set aside. Maybe there wasn't a formal charter or any kind of a plan in place besides just a handshake that said that this was going to be funded all the way through till the end. So, you know, sometimes you're on a project and everything's going fine, you're on budget, you're on schedule, you're doing, you know, what you're supposed to be doing, and you know, it's going along well, and then all of a sudden you find out that, well, the director of this department whose budget was going to be paying for this decided, well, we don't want to pay for it, or oops, I forgot to put it into the budget plan, and so your project gets killed. Another thing is with the Know Nothing Party that took over the Monument Society and kind of forced the cessation of building the monument. You need to be aware of the stakeholders in your projects when you do a stakeholders analysis in the project in the beginning and then throughout the project. You need to know I've worked on projects before where there were influential stakeholders who had a vested interest for my project to not succeed within the organization. Maybe it was going to change the way that their department functioned, and they didn't want that to happen. So if maybe they felt like this is you know, getting rammed down their throat, it's something that they don't really want, but it's being imposed on them. If that's the case, then you're going to run into issues like this. So being aware of who those stakeholders are who could potentially be a detriment to your project is going to be extremely important. And then of course the Civil War. These are the mega risks that are really difficult to foresee. You can't predict something like that. Sometimes you can, sometimes you have inklings. If they were doing a risk management plan right before the Civil War, maybe, you know, just with the tension that was going on, maybe they could have had a risk where they talked about if war were to break out, this is what we would do to keep this project going, or to be able to salvage it, come back to it at a later time, something like that. They could have decided that they wanted to go ahead and get all of the material to build enough material to build the entire monument, and have that secured in some location so that they could come back after the war, if there were a war to break out. This would be the risk statement. You know, you might formulate it something like, given that tensions are high between the North and the South, there's a possibility that civil war may break out, resulting in the delay or even destruction of the monument that is half built at this point. Well, not even half built, just the base of it being built. So just some fun little facts about the Washington Monument and some of the ways that project management can be brought to bear on a topic like this. Thanks everyone. This is Josh Nankivel from pmstudent.com reporting from Washington, D.C. at the base of the Washington Memorial.